Hi everyone! So in today's video, I'm going to be trying out a bunch of Victoria Beckham Beauty. I placed an order and I'm just excited to dive into these products. It's an almost Friday night and I've got absolutely nowhere to go, but I think it would be fun to do, you know, a little holiday kind of evening look with some of these products. I think I'm going to wear the new shade Velvet out of the Lid Lusters. Really excited about that green shade. As you guys know, I am a green fiend. I'm really trying to pep myself up. Okay, has this ever happened to you guys? When you put your straw into a soda, the foam just comes straight out of the top. I'm just drinking foam. You guys, I really need this to be good, I'll be honest. If you've been following my mouse saga, it's not just one mouse. And I mean, is it ever? I'm going in with the No. 7 Restore and Renew Serum Foundation, which I have talked about before on my channel, but I am sure you're going to be hearing about it again in an upcoming video because it's one of the best foundations I have ever used. Hair on my nose. It is just so skin smoothing, skin loving, thin but not drying, not heavy or crackly, but not overly dewy. It's one of the best out there, really, guys. I'm going to use a little bit of the Kosas Revealer under the eyes. I'm going to do my brows and then let's get into some Victoria Beckham. Okay, the eyebrows are done. I just haven't set them and concealer's blended. I am gonna add a little bit of the, oh, this is looking a little bit well loved. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Cream Bronzer. And it is, of course, bonkers good. If you guys have not yet heard my spiel about it, I could not recommend it enough. I think it's one of the best formulas that she has ever come out with. Worth every single penny. And I think that they finally have restocked the fair shade because this is the fairest shade. I bought it for my sister during the Sephora sale. And by the way, you guys, Sephora is doing, they have a 20% off your purchase coupon code. I will leave it down below for 20% off your purchase. I think it goes through this week, so I'll leave details below. Yeah, this cream bronzer is absolutely fantastic. My sister loves it. I love it, and I just think it's one of the best luxury purchases that I've ever made, in my opinion. So you guys will certainly be hearing about this. You know, Best of Beauty 2022 is right around the corner. And that is just so exciting. Those are like my favorite videos to film, like Best of Beauties. Let me know. Do you guys want to see like one video with skincare, makeup, fragrance? Last year, I kind of broke it up into categories. I did like a Best of Beauty and then I did like best eyeshadows, best blushes, I think. Just for the categories where I had a lot of products to talk about. I might do that again this year, but you guys let me know what you want to see. Now, let's go ahead into the first Victoria Beckham product, which is the Cheeky Posh Cream Blush Stick. So I picked up mine in the shade Miniskirt. What a great name. I used a lot of these products on like a face of already done makeup, like right when I got it in the mail. So this isn't like a first impression, but it's still pretty much there. Hefty, beautiful tortoiseshell packaging on this cream blush. And I'm going to take some onto a fluffy brush and just tap it onto the cheeks to see how that looks. I don't know if this is the best brush for this. Feels a little bit too fluffy. Maybe I'll just use my fingers and see. This is a freaking beautiful shade. The texture is creamy, but there's definitely a bit of a slip to it. It definitely has a little bit of that silicone thing going on, which I'm not gonna lie, that makes me nervous because I personally am someone that finds when my cream blush has way too much silicone, it just doesn't go well with, it just does not go well for me because it doesn't want to stick to my skin. Now I'm noticing that this is sticking where I put it. So, you know, that's good. Color is, again, perfect. Perfect color. I think as I'm pressing this in, I'm just noticing something that, again, that happens with these blushes that have this more silicone thing going with them. They just get not perfectly blended. That's the best way I can describe it. Let me show you what's immediately happening here. Can you see this right here? There is a space where this does not want to stick. So I can go back and like very, very lightly press that in. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to have to do that for this price point. I even notice it a little bit right here in an area where I just have more texture. So I can go ahead and like press that out a bit. But I am noticing something that does not happen with many of my cream blushes. The hair on my face is a bit exaggerated. That's something else that I notice with more of a silicone rich formula, kind of that soft matte touch of slip formula. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say right now, I could absolutely go back and try to figure out some better ways to apply this. But when there's a fussy product that is a little bit more up there in price, that for me is a big red flag. I purchase luxury beauty not because of the name or because it's luxurious. I purchase it because I'm expecting bomb quality. And I'm not saying the quality is bad, but I am saying that this kind of formula notoriously does not work well for me. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed. So that kind of sucks. But you know what? Let's go ahead into the lip lusters because I've already swatched these and I am feeling so happy to finally have these in my collection because they have just, I've been waiting to finally try these out. So here's the first shade. By the way, this is some of the most beautiful packaging of a brand I've ever seen. Again, beautiful glass tortoiseshell. The VB on here, that logo is iconic. And then you take off the little stopper and there is the beautiful lip luster. So this is the shade Velvet. I do plan on using this shade today. And oh my gosh, a little bit really spreads and goes a long way. So that is the shade Velvet. It is a very perfect balance, in my opinion, of a green, but also that kind of yellowy gold. Next, I have the shade Tea Rose. This is a very iconic shade in the collection, and I have been itching to get my hands on it. Let's give it a swatch here. I will say when I initially swatched these, this shade came off the easiest on my hand. Velvet and the next shade, Mink, lasted a little bit longer when I was washing my hands. But this is also the lightest shade, so like, you know, I think that's kind of to be expected. But oh my God. I gotta tell you right now, if you have been looking for anything close to Chanel New Moon, which it has been discontinued and is a really beautiful shade. It's not exact, but that purpley note to it is very Chanel New Moon. And honestly, this is just an absolutely perfect shade. It's wearable. The sparkles are so sophisticated, very slightly wet looking. And God, the formula just a little bit goes a long way, very spreadable. And finally, we have the shade Mink. And Mink is pretty freaking gorgeous as well. I'm really glad that I picked it up because I was on the fence. I was like, I don't know, it's a little deep. This has the most beautiful, beautiful, wet gunmetal brown vibe to it. I mean, all three of these are so different. You can really get three completely different looks with these shades, which makes me happy because that means, in my opinion, that I picked the right shades. I have a nice variety here. God, Mink is pretty freaking gorgeous, and I kind of want to use it. I might use it like on the outer corners and then use a lot of velvet. Oh my God, but Tea Rose and Mink together, that would be beautiful too. But I gotta definitely use velvet. So let's start with velvet. Alrighty, where are you, velvet? Here you are. Here we go. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I am absolutely... I'm speechless. By far, one of the most beautiful green eyeshadows that I have ever seen. If not the most beautiful. Let's maybe first start with a brush here. I'm using the BK 207. By the way, let's go any further in here. By the way, BK sent me a bunch of their brushes and I am so impressed and kind of flabbergasted that I hadn't tried them before. But now they're like all I want to reach for. They're insanely good quality. So I am just blending, patting that out. There is something so magical about this shade. They managed to make this green so wearable, yet so festive. There's nothing about this that looks one-dimensional, which is what I was a little bit afraid of. But what they were able to do is just give it very subtle smokiness, and the shine of the sparkles themselves are insanely smooth. This is luxury. You know, this is what I'm expecting with luxury. The smoothness of this glitter is sophisticated. This is really, really impressing me right now. I get to do it all over again on the other eye. I want you to just look at my finger for a second, you guys. Oh, how smooth it is. This is obviously like a pressed glitter, very much similar to the Hourglass Scattered Lights, but there's a little bit more heft to this. Perfectly smooth, remains beautifully saturated going onto the eye. This is definitely what I was hoping for. And right now, I'm not seeing like a huge difference formula-wise between this and like the Bodyography Glitter Pigments or the Hourglass Scattered Lights, other than they just feel a little bit creamier. They feel a little bit just closer to a cream shadow than like a dry pressed glitter. They have this nice emollients to them that I really like. God, that is pretty. Now, I think I'm gonna add a little bit of Mink on the outer corners just because. Why not? Just a little bit because damn, this is pigmented. Just a touch out here. Oh my God. Yeah, like I said, definitely pigmented. Do you see how it stands up to the other shade? There are some shadows that they would end up kind of competing because Mink has that gorgeous pigment to it. That's what you really want out of a defining shade, because without that pigment, you can't really work it into other looks. I've used the same brush this entire time. I think I'm gonna take like this little spongy applicator and just add a little bit more of this green. Actually, a sponge applicator works really, really well if you don't feel like getting your fingers in the product. You know that green eyeshadow video that I've been wanting to do recently? That's gonna probably be happening way quicker now because I feel like I just found one of the best that I've ever used. Now I almost forgot a product that I have used before, and this is not going to be like a first impression because I just used this in the last video I posted on how I do my eye makeup with hollow under eyes. So this is the Satin Kajal liner in the shade Cocoa. I'm not positive about the longevity, but this is definitely one of the creamiest most luxurious liners I've ever used. Sometimes you're like, there's no way that I would ever buy like a luxury liner. I know a lot of people feel that way about like mascaras as well, but I had just heard so many good things, and now I'm like, that is why. That is what you pay for. Just this intense, gorgeous creaminess. It is just something special. And there's more shades. There's more shades. And I picked one that I wanted to get like a lot of use out of. Now I'm like wanting more. The pigment is so freaking saturated. Almost like I would love to see how this works as just like a cream eyeshadow on its own. What I am noticing though is that immediately when I tightlined, it got onto the lower lash line, like it's kind of getting into that area too. So I'm not a fan of that. I would probably stick to using this on the lids rather than tightlining with it. But Kajal liners typically aren't gonna hold up well, like literally in the waterline, so I'm not really surprised. All right, I'm going to do mascara. Let's get on into the lip products that I picked up. I don't even think I would change a thing about the eyes right now. They're so pretty. I'm just over the moon about it. You have two glosses as well as the Posh lipstick, and I think I'm gonna try on both glosses on their own first. So the first one I have is the shade Ice. It is just a clear gloss. This was a free item with purchase that I picked up. Beautiful glass packaging. I don't even know how many glosses I have in glass packaging. This is definitely luxe. So there's the shade Ice. Again, it's just a very basic clear gloss, but I will say that it feels quite hydrating. It's not gloopy, gluey, certainly more on the thin side, but it has this nice plushiness that I personally look for with my lip products. It adds really nice volume. I mean, I think it's really pretty. It feels, you know, it definitely has that luxurious feeling on the lips as well. It translates. I notice it within the texture. It almost kind of feels like a mix between a gloss and a liquid lip balm, a little bit. Very comfortable. It would be really nice just to have on hand during the winter when you want something that's not just like adding a little bit of lip balm. I took off that gloss, and let's go ahead with the next gloss shade that I picked up, which is Poolside. I will do swatches, and I'll also swatch the blush as well. I forgot to do that. This is Poolside. I picked it up because I am a huge lover of a brown pink kind of gloss. I wanted to see how this one performed. I gotta tell you, way more pigment than I was expecting. I could certainly wear this with a little bit of liner and just call it a day. Very pretty. And up close on the lips themselves, it has this really nice soft kind of jelly quality that I love in my lip products. I love for the pigments themselves to have a little bit of a translucence rather than like a milky white kind of base pigment to them. I just find that that ends up being more flattering on the lips. It's very softening. It's very pretty. The shade in particular, I am a big fan of. This is the shade Poolside. And then here is the shade Ice, which is clear, so I don't even really know why I'm swatching this. But there you go. And then next, let's go ahead and swatch the Posh lipstick that I picked up, and this is the shade Pose. And I will take this off and apply this as well. Again, packaging on point, on point. So you guys can obviously tell I have a type when it comes to lip shades. It even leaves behind it like a little bit of a stain, doesn't it? You really don't see that with gloss. Actually, let me remove this gloss and see if it stains my hand at all. Not really on the hand though, but I could have sworn that my lips were not that flushed before. We're all discovering it together. All right, so here's Pose. Let's get a good lip application on this one. And there is the shade Pose. And the shade I love. Application was very smooth. Like, it felt very comfortable going on. But I will say, and that's going to happen with a shade like this, I have some dry spots and this color cling to them. Most lipsticks are gonna do that, you know, unless you have like a liquid lip balm or, you know, like a gloss like this, you know, a lipstick is going to cling on to those areas a little bit. However, I mean, this just adds this kind of, I don't know, these lip products really add a nice pillowiness to the lips. They feel elegant, but not really overdone. I'm really excited to keep using this one. I am gonna pat it out a little bit in those areas. It has a little touch of shine, but not overwhelming. Very comfortable going on the lips. It's not, I don't know, I think I was expecting the lipstick to be a little bit more of that like Glossier Generation G kind of texture, that more silicone heavy, blotted kind of lip look. But this to me is way more hydrating, definitely has that kind of pillowiness, beautiful shade, but it's not like high pigment saturated by any means, which I think makes this more wearable. Sometimes when a product is like too glossy and too high pigment and then you add it and it's like too creamy, it makes for a less wearable experience and less easy to apply, but this has a very nice kind of everyday lipstick texture. And by the way, this is the shade Miniskirt, and the blush, just wanted to give that to you guys. I mean, that shade is so good. But let's do a bit of a recap on the products that I tried out from Victoria Beckham. Take out my hair too, because I feel like I spent all this time on my hair and then no one got to freaking see it the whole video. So number one, let's start with the product that has impressed me the most, which is not going to be a surprise. The lip lusters. They are absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And I think that what has made these such a standout for me are the shades themselves. The formula itself isn't super innovative or different necessarily comparatively to like the Hourglass Scattered Lights, the Bodyography Glitter Pigments. What makes these different are the shades. They're not on the nose obnoxious. I feel like some shades, especially in the Bodyography glitters, some of them are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really love them as a whole. But I feel like I have a green in this color story that is just like feels very on the nose. There's not really another layer of dimension, another kind of shift that comes out when you put it onto the eyes. And this is what I was looking for out of Velvet. And it's not too yellow gold. I was a little bit worried about that, but no, this is, oh my God, is it beautiful. Mink on the outer corners is absolutely stunning, gorgeously wet looking. I mean, it is one of the most beautiful smoky, glossy top coat looking shadows that I have used, and I've literally used it once. Of course, I'm going to keep updating you guys as I continue to wear these, but I am like, I cannot wait to wear them again. And I'm excited to use Tea Rose on its own for like a full look, because the finish of Tea Rose is just so beautifully wearable and sophisticated. I mean, I can understand why so many people rave about these. Again, it took me far too long to finally try them, but these are absolutely beautiful. Now, as for the Satin Kajal liners, I would like to pick up another shade because I am just so impressed with this formula. The glide of them on the lids, it just makes eyeliner a more pleasurable experience. I would also like another shade because I just feel like the experience of applying liner is often like just not my favorite. And because this is so creamy, dreamy, intense pigment, it almost feels like painting and playing like I do with my cream shadows. So it just makes it such a luxurious experience. It really is an experience, you know, using these liners. So wow, I'm very, very impressed with this. I know there's like an olive shade. Kind of means I need to pick it up. Now, a product I was very disappointed in, unfortunately, are these Cheeky Poshes. Even I went in my bathroom and that had more natural light, and this just looks choppy. It does not look up to my standard, in my opinion. It is a disappointment, but it's not surprising. You know, formulas like this just typically don't work for me. So I wish I kind of picked up the powder bronzer instead because I feel like that could be a really good buy. Unfortunately, I didn't. Really unfortunate about this one too, because I also just absolutely am in love with the packaging as well. But also good because if you guys are similar to me, you've tried out products like the Rare Beauty compact cream blushes, like those really silicone heavy blushes have not worked for you, then I would say to stay away. So, you know, whenever I try out makeup that I don't like, the bright side is always like, well, my whole job is to hopefully also save you guys some money, you know what I mean? Now, the glosses are very, very pretty. The glass is nice, but it does kind of scare me a little bit. I was thinking about it. I don't know if I would want to keep a glass lip gloss in my purse necessarily, you know what I mean? But I guess it's no different than like, you know, having like a travel size perfume in there. Ultimately, they're very beautiful and super, super luxe. I added a little bit of the Posh gloss right over the Posse shade, the Posse lipstick. And this combo is just really, really pretty. I think what you get with a lot of luxurious beauty products is just a beautiful shade selection. And I'm finding that that's definitely the case with Victoria Beckham. They're just really dialed in beautiful but wearable shades. This lip combo is incredibly flattering. Is it the most glossiest glossy lip gloss I've ever used? No. Is it very beautiful and hydrating on the lips? Does it give a nice shine? Does it feel comfortable? Yes. As far as the lipstick, the Posh lipstick, it's really, really, really beautiful. The color, I think when you kind of pat it out, it just gives you this really like lifelike lived-in lipstick look. I feel like this shade, these two together, are just so pretty. I can't imagine that this would be the most long-wearing lipstick, but it's definitely one that is a pleasure to reapply. There's just a smoothness to it. The shade is absolutely perfect. Slim, elegant. I think if you want something a little bit richer than, say, the Merit Signature lips, this could be a good way for you to go. If you tried those and you wanted something with just a little bit more emollients to it, this I think is a really, really good option. And I'm interested in other shades now of the Posh lipstick. So hopefully all of these first impressions are helpful. I'm 100% going to keep using these products, keep updating you guys because I know that that's so important. I really appreciate you guys being here. I will leave all the products that I tried out down below for you guys, and I will see you guys in my next one.